So for our last object that we're looking at for Museum Buddy in relation to neurodiversity, it's an empty bottle of Ritalin tablets from the Wellcome collection. So Ritalin is normally taken by people that have ADHD, though I believe it can also be taken by people that have narcolepsy as well. I think what's maybe a bit different about ADHD, it's one of the few neurodivergent conditions where there's lots of different medications available for people to use to be able to treat it. I think on some level I worry that because ADHD has medication available for its treatment, it kind of frames ADHD as an illness, which it isn't, and it treats medication as a cure, which it also isn't. ADHD is a condition that's ongoing, and obviously not everyone with ADHD needs to or wants to take medication, but I personally think that the option should always be there. Ultimately, I think all neurodivergent people with ADHD should be empowered to live life on their own terms, and medication can help with that, and there should be no stigma in taking medication. And actually maybe there should be more research for other conditions into having medication available should people want it. Not that they would have to have it, but for some people those kinds of things are very useful. I also think that for lots of people with ADHD, education and employment, these systems have not been set up to best nurture their talents. And ideally, it'd be better to kind of change these systems so they're more accommodating. However, the education system isn't probably going to completely change anytime soon, so that's unrealistic. And if medication supports their ability to function, inside society, participate in education, have a job, then obviously that's what they need to survive. And especially as adults with ADHD, I think adults with ADHD kind of tend to get less of a focus. If you need money to pay your rent, so you need a job, and you have ADHD, you kind of need to be able to be given the tools to make this happen. And obviously medication, I think, is one of those tools, basically.
And also women as well, they sometimes don't get diagnosed. I think ADHD has like this stereotype of naughty boys.
Well, that's the thing. I think pretty much with all neurodivergent conditions, there's always some kind of reductive term that's used to refer to them. So yeah, ADHD, it's kind of naughty boys. And then as we looked at earlier in the week, people with dyspraxia, the clumsy child. And we actually do really need to be aware of how different conditions present themselves differently in people. And I think ADHD is also one of the ones which presents itself very differently in young girls and young boys, and that's why often young girls don't get diagnosed, and perhaps they maybe get diagnosed much later in life. I also know, just to bring the focus back to Ritalin, in recent years there's kind of been like the widespread abuse of Ritalin by people that don't have ADHD. It's used in students as a study drug, and I think I also have a concern surrounding that, because kind of if ADHD is increasingly abused by people that don't really need it, it's just to enhance them studying rather than just function normally in day-to-day life, then Ritalin and other medications similar might become inaccessible for people that really need it, because the criteria for diagnosis will become much higher to prevent the people that don't have ADHD gaining access to it. So I do think these, especially with medication, they need to be approached in the right way, basically.
Definitely. I would like to read a poem by Henrik Hoffman. It was published in 1904 in the British journal Lancet.
Okay.
Hopefully I can read it without getting tongue-tied. We might have to do a few takes.
I'm excited.
So it's called Fidgety Philip, and it was published in the British journal Lancet about ADHD. So it goes: let me see if Philip can be a little gentleman. Let me see if he is able to sit still for once at the table. Thus spoke in an earnest tone the father to his son, and the mother looked very grave to see Philip so misbehave. But for Philip he did not mind, his father who was so kind. He wriggled and giggled, and then I declare swam backwards and forwards and tilted his chair, and just like any rocking horse, Philip, I am getting cross. See the naughty, restless child growing still more rude and wild, till his chair falls over quite. Philip screams with all his might, catches at the cloth, but then that makes matters worse again. Down upon the ground they fall, glasses, bread, knives and forks and all. How Mama did fret and frown when she saw them tumbling down, and Papa made such a face. Philip is in a sad disgrace. Where is Philip? Where is he? Fairly covered up, you see. Cloth and all are lying on him. He has pulled down all upon him. What a terrible to do. Dishes, glass snapped in two. Here's a knife and there's a fork. Philip, this is naughty work. Table also bare, Poor Papa, poor Mama, look quite cross and wonder how they shall make their dinner now.
Ah, I really like that. Maybe he needs some Ritalin.
Yeah, maybe.
But so the bottle of Ritalin tablets, that was our last object of the 5 objects that we've been exploring for Museum Buddy this week. We hope you enjoyed the videos we shared, and we'd also really like it if you could, if you want to comment any of your own responses to the objects. We'd really welcome any conversation, especially from other people that have neurodivergent conditions. So hopefully looking forward to hearing some of you. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.